fitness there, Davo, is how's Jana? Is
he trained fully on Tuesday and will train fully tomorrow. Today, he's going to be wearing a splint that he needed adjusting today. So we didn't. I didn't want him to train without the splint being right, but he'll train tomorrow. He trained fully on Tuesday. I don't know who was here Tuesday, but
the other big call, leaving Trocky out completely.
Obviously not Shiz, part of the Springbok. He was injured last week. He comes in, but I thought Jaco Coetzee was outstanding last week in the semi-final, and it was that simple. I just thought Jaco, they're very like-for-like players, both carriers, both physical. Jaco may have the edge in stealing, and so if we need a guy who can play to the ball and slow it down. Now that he's fit again, he's a bit of 6. He played 6 in last year's semi-final. He would have played last year's final if he'd been fit. So it was a big call on Trocky, but yeah, that's what it is.
Is Scarrow on the bench or starting? Or are you sending some false information to the shop?
Scarrow's on the bench. There was a big debate though. At one stage early in the week we had him penciled down to start, but no, he's on the bench.
Well, just going back to that 10-12 combination, do you see scope for change throughout the course of the game? I mean, do you see Damien shifting into 10 at some point in the match, obviously depending on how things go?
Yeah, I think that's obviously one of that's part of the injury cover. It's also part of how we want to play tactically when we're on attack. We alternate 10 and 15 quite a lot, but now you've got 12, and if you're attacking both sides of the ruck, to have him at a first receiver is quite exciting. And yeah, that is the logical cover. If anything goes wrong, Damien goes in, and then Damien goes into 10. Huh?
Quite centre heavy on the bench.
The thing was we actually got so much versatility. So if JJ covers 15 because SPM moves across. Dan goes into 12. Also, another option is JJ coming 13, Ruan into 12. If Damien got injured or Josh got injured, that's another option for us. I must admit, I've been very impressed with the class of JJ Engelbrecht. It's quite a reflection on our depth that JJ is not starting. I think he's an exceptional rugby player. Then you've still got Evia Fillion and Dan du Plessis, who I think is both of them are potential Springboks. So it's been pretty tough for the backs in such a short competition.
Managing the guys this week, how did that work out for you guys? Walker's been on the touchline for
the whole week, yeah.
Who else did you have on the touchline, and how did that work?
Yeah, it's been the props have been a challenge. Chris van Zyl earned the nickname Sculler after Schalk Burger. I don't train and just play on a Saturday. But Sculler's trained this week, but the two props, Ali and Wilco, they're so important to us. We've kept them. They could have trained today. I just thought there's just absolutely no point in the risk. They've been through a lot. So they'll both play, definitely. They'll both start. They're both good to play. But we've used the next generation guy called Quenzo Blows from the 21 and Netling for Shears cover this week. But I don't know what you guys thought, but I thought all three of those front row were really good last week when they came on. Caleb played the best game he's played since this union. And Kumbarai is 21-year-old. He's a hell of a character. 21-year-old, very bright, tight-head. They're various sort of oxymorons in that as it is. And then he's quite funny. He stands at the back of the line and asks Chris, whether the lineup's not in, he's dancing. He's like literally dancing before the ball comes in. And he's in charge of the music playlist. So Kumbarai, I'm really excited about those three. And last time we played the Sharks, we didn't have, I think Ali was out as well, was he? I can't remember. But we certainly didn't have Bonge, we didn't have Wilco. And we still got the edge on them in the scrum. So I'm quite optimistic about that, the front row.
Just to be clear, there's no rolling subs.
Hey?
Just to be clear, there's no rolling subs.
No.
Okay.
Almost backfired last week. If Wilco's nose hadn't started bleeding, we would have been in trouble there.
Yeah, no, we discussed it, but I mean, the rules change weekly.
Yeah, fair enough, yeah, fair enough. No, there's no rolling subs.
Davo, you saw the Sharks back three quite young with Sabu and Corsi. You picked the two kickers. Is that an area which you'll look to exploit?
Look, I think it's one of the things that every time you sit down at the start of the week is what your kicking plan is, and certainly we'd be looking to put the ball up every now and again, because Sergio and Espia and Dylan are so good in the air, whether it's receiving or whether it's attacking our own kicks. So it is part of our plan. We're very aware that they are going to want to play the rugby in our half, and we're going to have. We've been planning a lot about how we're going to exit our half and put them under pressure. It doesn't help us just like last week us hacking the ball down the middle of the field and then having to defend, the whole width of the field. I think it didn't really work for us in our execution. So we may be a bit more accurate. The height may change of the kicks, but it's definitely a plan of ours to test their back threes in kick space. Yeah.
I know David Phillips has played 12 for the junior box in 2016, I think.
Yeah.
But is it a risk? New sex combination, a new position for him after a long time. Is it? I mean, obviously you've taken the calculated risk. Do you see it as a risk?
Look, I would be lying to you if I said this wasn't unplanned. In that, if you saw last year's game, we thought it would only be 25 minutes. He'd play 12, but because of extra time, he played 45 minutes at 12 last week, and that was a view towards the final options. So I don't see it as a risk. I think we would have been more at risk had we carried on like we were. I'll tell you why. It's not critical. I think Damien's, certainly his short term, it's made clear to him his international position is at fullback. And the thing that to ask a kid to the fullback, you're hitting the line at full speed. And I think what we saw last week was Damien took the ball at full speed, and we struggled to get outside their rush. And I think it's a lot to ask a guy to boss the thing with a new scrum off he's never played with, to boss a relatively inexperienced number. For him to boss the game was a big ask. I actually feel this is safer. He has played 12. We did move him across to 12 during last week, and there's just less stress in terms of the decision making and less stress. When I say decision making, I don't mean only calling the plays. I mean how to run and how to. Where 12, you're going, what's it called? Flat outing, whatever it's called. There's a word for it. It doesn't matter. But he's going flat out the whole time.
You mentioned that rush. Last week, obviously, you guys were placed under a lot of pressure there and didn't get going. Especially Damien. Do you think Josh will be able to handle that if the Sharks should play?
Yeah, listen.
How do you counter that?
He's got a lot of Josh got a lot of experience, and I think the team feel comfortable. They feel safe with Josh in terms of that. What we didn't do last week is we didn't get the ball out the back against the rush. We played. As I said, Damien was taking it straight to the line. All our centres were taking it to the line, and we didn't get the only ball we got out the back was the one that led to SP's try. And Damien was the irony. Damien was a guy who made the pass to Lates in what was traditionally the 12 role. So I think Josh is quite good at getting the ball behind if they do come with a big rush. And also, as much as we know about Damien's attacking skills, defensively, he is very strong and very good and very aggressive. The way he defended at 12 in the last half an hour of that game last week was very good. So defensively, is attractive to me. And also, just then we got Damien. People think Damien's a running fly because he can step, but I mean he probably got a bigger boot than Josh in terms of distance. Josh may have more experience in terms of finding kick space and a bit more variety, but Damien's can get a lot of distance. So it also helps us in terms of trying to make sure that we're not playing in the wrong territory.
Chris, there's something about playing a final at Newlands. Obviously, the stats show that the home team obviously great to have the support, but does that come with some extra additional pressure as well?
Not really. I think we've been really excited about the opportunity to play back at Newlands after last week. We haven't had a lot of opportunities this year with the shorter format, and the prospect of having a potentially full Newlands is something that just excites the guys. I don't think it's had any effect on what the result will potentially be. I think we are really focused on playing what we believe is our brand of rugby and our standards, and that's what we've been focused on this week.
Chris, 6 or 7 guys who played with you here, you will be coming up against them. Does that make the contest a bit more spicy?
Yeah, potentially. I mean, Rob was here last year, obviously. Nothing very specific, but I think all in all, we're just looking forward to playing our brand of rugby against them, and it doesn't matter who it is. It's just what we want to show the people what we're all about.
So what do you expect now of the Sharks in the final? And playing them early in the season, putting 50 points, do you pick up some things that you could possibly use to your advantage?
Yeah, I actually felt until this last weekend, that was probably our closest game. We probably felt that we were the poorest in. In fact, our motto after the game was Because if you're going unbeaten, you're not learning as much as if you're losing games. Yeah, last year we had a chance to learn a lot. This year, so we sort of said that's our lost game, was that last one against the Sharks, because we really wanted to learn, and we gave a try away in the first minute. It was something we trained, talked about. That sort of cross contestable, that we had to defend the blind, and that's where they scored off in the first minute. So we learned a lot from that game. What I'm expecting from them. I think it's clear they're going to play territory. They're very much a momentum team, that if we don't stand up to their carries, they'll get the offloads away. We know, because we were so poor with ball in contact last week, that they'll try and choke us or hold us up or strip us. So we have to be a bit better in our carries. We know their maul's good. We've sorted one or two things out with the ref around the mauls that should help from last week. But we know the whole thing with Sharks, and I think you guys all know the same picture. If they get into your half and they start dominating contact, and the offloads start happening with the Duprees, Marius Lowe, Aka, then they're a very, very hard team to beat. If we can stop that momentum, then I think it's game on.
Chris, when they were here last time, if I remember correctly, they were quite imposing in the lineouts. Just your thoughts on that battle, and how you feel you guys are off champion there.
I think we've got good plans for the weekend coming, and I think they were good line-out outfits. So we've done our prep on both contesting and then taking the options that we see are on. I do also believe that it will be a key part of the game. Getting clean first phase ball will definitely be a focus of ours, and obviously to try and stop as much of them getting that as well.
What's the key to stopping a team like them on the gain line? I like to get momentum from gain line. Stopping them behind their box as well?
Yeah, you've got to be careful, Craig, with line speed. We want line speed, but we played against the Bulls last week, and as well as the Bulls played, they didn't seem to really care how many penalties they gave away. And I think at one stage on 17, because there's this theory amongst coaches that referees will penalise the same thing 3 or 4 times, but he's not going to look like an idiot and give away 40, penalise it 40 times. We can't afford to give away 17 penalties against them with their maul, with Rob's boot, and we'll play too much. So we want legal line speed, but the key is going to be the double tackles, that we get one guy in high and one guy in low. So the low guy to stop him, and the high, because we generally are a double tackling union. We haven't got a very strong skill set in terms of poaching the ball. So it's about double tackles, and that second guy has to get high and wrap the ball. So I think if the first guy chops legs, the second guy stops the offload. We made 286 tackles last week. I think that's obviously far too many, but it includes 20 extra minutes. But I think we are very confident in our system. So I'm not worried about us defending phases, just that offloads are hard, and that's why the double with the second guy being high is important to us.
Davo, what if you do get the penalties like you did last week, but the referee doesn't give the other card?
It's a good yeah. No, it's I mean, we felt that the offsides last week was of such a nature. I don't want to bag Egan, because I think it was, for us as coaches and him as a referee, last week was a big learning experience. I think we'll be better coaches, he'll be a better ref for it. But I think for rugby, the one thing people must understand, without space, there's not going to be an attractive game of rugby. So if you're up against a rush that's probably coming off the line a couple of metres ahead of it, you're not going to get space, and it's going to end up in a miserable spectacle, So I think at some stage a referee's got to say time off and call the captain and say, listen, the next you going if you don't get this sorted out, But I mean, we have got one of the world's best referees this week, and we have spoken to him about space. We've spoken to him about some elements around the mauling, so I'm pretty confident.
It's one of those infuriating things, though, because it's touch judges should be policed reasonably easily, considering all rugby's grey laws. It's one of the ones that you can see quite clearly.
Yeah, we've got a theory on perhaps why some. I'm going to be naughty, but. How much are they a team of 3, or how much are they 3 individuals? It is frustrating. But maybe some ARs want to be refereeing. Some.
Chris, your experience of Jacob, is he a firm guy who will put the load down.
100%, yeah.
And out cards.
Definitely, and that, yeah, I mean, I can clearly remember it didn't take him long to hand out a card against, was it the
Shark.
Lions? No, against the Sharks. No, the Lions.
Lions in the semi, yeah.
In the semi-final, within the first, I think, 5 minutes, he gave JD a yellow card. And that's exactly what he's all about. There's no nonsense. He won't even listen to me if he doesn't think I've got a valid, reason, and that's the way he is. And I think the guys respect that also. I think the guys in general on the field respect him greatly. And it's great to be having him refereeing the final.
Do you expect SB to have a chance to kick 7 penalties again, or do you think the final will be very different in that regard?
Jeepers. No, I wouldn't know. I mean, it's great. What I will say, it is great knowing that SB can kick so well, and from doesn't look like the wind might change. Doesn't look like the wind's going to blow like it did, and. The points he kicked this weekend, that was in some tough conditions. So as a captain, it's flipping great to know that I can look at him, and he's one of those oaks that give him half a chance, and he wants the ball. So it's really encouraging to have that in Espia going into a final, I must say.
Chris, if it goes to extra time, do you know the rules?
Experience.
Right, no more questions. Ashfaq has got one more. All the horses have
It was Mike de Vries's birthday yesterday, you know.
It was the day before.
The day before, we spotted.
I can't even get that right.
He had an ice cream. I'll WhatsApp you guys.
Ashfaq, what's the question?
It took a while for the attack to get going last week. Second half, back to the usual levels. Do you expect it to be better this time, and what would be the difference?
Much better. I thought last week, if you saw our body language, we were visibly tense. I think the first time we played with that halfback or 8, 9, 10 combination, as I said to you before, I thought Damien, he was trying to attack the line, and against the rush, we probably need to get it out the back, which I said which I thought we didn't get right. But we had everything to lose last week. I'm not trying to. It's not an excuse. And one of the things Chris and I have stressed to the team this whole week, let's go back to who we are. The reason we're unbeaten, the reason why we're hosting a final is because we play a certain style with a smile on our face, some joie de vivre. You guys like Dylan Lates and Scurra and Tabeni, and they just epitomise how rugby should be played in this region. They mates on and off the field. They enjoy themselves. And I thought last week we lacked that. I know it sounds very romantic and that sort of thing, but all we've asked for this week is we're limited to talk about the Sharks, is our players to just say who we are, and that is great. It's guys who play attractive rugby with a smile on their faces. We know we're going to have to work incredibly hard against an incredibly physical team. We've got more Springboks who, obviously, with the noise coming from Durban, think that they can win this game easily. So, but the one thing I promise you is, every time this team will not go away. We'll be at the sharp end of this game, but trying to do it the way we like to play rugby.
Okay, thank you very much. Guys, we'll have TV one-on-ones with Dobbo.